Hello, welcome to Access Humboldt's Community Voices. I'm Dave Silverbrand, I'm your host, and today we're talking with Patrick Cleary, who's the Executive Director of the Humboldt Area Foundation. First of all, Patrick, thanks for taking some time out of what I'm sure is an extremely busy schedule of yours to come in and talk to us.
Well, thank you for having me.
And I have to thank you personally from a local level for your involvement with the Humboldt Area Foundation, because I know you have a lot of hats that you're wearing at the same time. We've talked about that before. Yes. But this is a good opportunity to talk about and remind people of what the Humboldt Area Foundation does and how it contributes to our community.
Yeah, no, thank you for the opportunity, because Humboldt Area Foundation is, it's a complicated organization and in a very wonderful way. But you know, we've been around for about 44 years now. You know, really started in '72 when the Viadors decided to create the foundation, and we've grown to the point now where we've given out almost $80 million since we started to the community. And so I think I'm lucky. I think I have the best job in the entire county, and so it's a privilege to be able to go into work every day.
Can you give me an idea, I'm putting you on the spot, but just give me an idea of the types of projects that the foundation has been involved with or supported? You
know, we do everything from, you know, on the large side, we just help fund the Arcata Firehouse remodel and the McKinleyville Firehouse remodel, and that, you know, we've just made a grant now to the Open Door Clinic for the new Fortuna Clinic. So those are some of the large grants we do. On the other hand, we do a lot of small grants to a lot of small organizations, you know, everything from the Humboldt Breast and GYN Health Project to Arcata Playhouse to little organizations out as far as Hoopa and Trinity County down in southern Humboldt, up in Del Norte County, and even we actually extend slightly into Curry County, Oregon as well. So it's so we do pretty much a little bit of everything. Our main focus is on trying to help those who are most in need and trying to bring the community together. So that's.
And to what degree do you, when you are helping an organization, and I wouldn't mention anything specifically, but if you're helping an organization do something, is there something you say to them or induce to them saying, we're going to help you out, but we're hoping that you find a way to self-sustain?
Yeah, self-sustain is always a big concern. You know, I think, you know, give an example of where we were able to provide a little bit of money. We funded a grant that was a planning grant that helped build the Arcata Bay Crossing, which is, you know, housing essentially mentally ill homeless people as a transition home. Our grant was actually very small, but it was the grant that leveraged the other federal money, you know, because you have to do the planning and you have to be able to present a proposal. So a lot of times we'll be the first money in, and we'll try to see if we can leverage other funding that can come in and do that. So as far as, you know, I mean, we have some donors who want to support the same organization year in and year out. We have certain funds that are designated for, say, Glen Paul School, and so we can do that as well. And I think one of the beauties of a community foundation is that whatever the donor wants to do, we're very donor driven. And so if you come in and you set up a fund and you want to spay and neuter cats and dogs, we will fund organizations that spay and neuter cats and dogs. If you want to support homeless efforts, you know, we'll support homeless efforts. And so it's really wonderful, the breadth of what we get to do.
Yeah, and when you say donor-driven, I guess that also implies that it helps us as a community define for ourselves what's important. But
exactly.
A lot of times you have agencies that come in and say, this is important, so you're going to do it this way. And this is kind of helping us be true to our own needs and our own aspirations, I guess.
Yeah. And, you know, as you know, Dave, this is an incredibly generous community. And, you know, you know, we are actually one of the larger community foundations in the state of California, which is really mind-blowing when you start thinking about that. You know, we're bigger than the Napa Community Foundation or the Fresno Community Foundation, or, you know, communities that are significantly larger than us. And it's because we're such a generous organization. And yeah, our donors get to really specify what they find to be important. And so, we try to honor their request in every way we can. And then with the money that is left to our discretion, which some donors do, and say, what your board decide what's important, we try to focus on, areas of the most need, of areas of people who are being left out. So we try to be very inclusive. We try to grow a whole series of leaders. We believe that the more people are involved in the community and involved in their controlling their own fate, the better the decisions will be. So.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk a minute about some of the programs that you've had? We were talking about one earlier that had to deal with racism and our attitudes about race and ethnicity.
Yes.
How does Humboldt Area Foundation get involved in bringing somebody in who has expertise that way?
Well, we were fortunate that we have some very good connections with some larger funders, particularly the California Endowment, who is trying to create a healthy dialogue around race and equity, and trying to look at places where people are excluded. So we have formed something that we now call the Equity Alliance of the North Coast. We're working with Humboldt State and the Smullen Foundation and a number of other partners to facilitate a discussion about race and equity in our community. And it's becoming increasingly relevant, particularly as Humboldt State's enrollment shifts. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that 40% of the students at Humboldt State now are Hispanic, and they are a Hispanic serving institution. And that is, making them feel welcome in our community is something that they don't always feel. And so we're trying to just be able to have a constructive dialogue about it. So we have that initiative is a big initiative of ours. Another one that we've helped to incubate is an organization called True North. And True North is really focused on trying to create a whole new series of leaders and trying to get people from communities such as the Latino community and the Native American community, as well as the faith-based communities, to come together and find what's important to them and to be able to express their voice in a constructive manner. And so we've done some discussions about immigration, about paths to citizenship. We've done some work around the Klamath River and water and the importance of that to the Native population. And we've done things like school lunches and safe routes to school in McKinleyville and all sorts of things. But the idea is really to encourage people who are historically maybe intimidated. How do you talk to your elected officials? And how can you voice your concerns in a way where you're not just yelling and screaming? I mean, that's not, we're very into a constructive dialogue. So we've been working a lot on that. And then, we do help facilitate the Northern California Association of Nonprofits, or NORCAN, to work with the nonprofits in our community and try to make them stronger and more effective too.
Yeah, and True North is a great example too, I think, because I've been to those some of those initial meetings where people were talking about things that confused them or intimidated them or made them fearful, and maybe they were reasonable or not. But I think when you're able to put a name on something that influences your life and your judgment, that empowers you to some degree.
Absolutely.
A great degree, I think.
Yeah, and the fact that you're not alone, that other people share these concerns, and for people to be able from different communities to say, oh, you also feel that way, and you're also worried about, whether it's safe streets or, or the, whether you're being profiled by law enforcement. I mean, there's many, many issues that just as you said, naming it and being able to call it out is powerful, and it brings people together. And I think being able to have the dialogue, we've facilitated some dialogues with the Latino community and law enforcement, where they've gotten to understand each other better and understand some of their concerns. And that makes it for a stronger community, I think.
Well, let me ask you a question then, and it's probably an open-ended. Well, I know it's an open-ended one, or I wouldn't ask it. I can just leave and let you answer it. The question is, if people have a concern about a specific issue, whether it's that or equal access to physical facilities or whatever it is, and they think that Humboldt Area Foundation might provide them some guidance of some kind, what do you think is a good technique for them to use? In other words, should they call somebody, or
they can call they can call the main number, and we'll often try to figure out who's the best person to refer to. Our website, we actually, after many years of having a sort of an antiquated website, we did a pretty good upgrade of it just last year. So we're pretty happy with that, and that will provide people, particularly with some of the ways to apply for smaller grants and rounds like that. And we do try to look for small neighborhood efforts. I mean, we've funded recently an effort of pulling the residents together around Cooper Gulch, and just how do they address some of the issues about feeling safe in that area. And then there's also in addition to that, we can refer them to certain nonprofits that may be more informed on it. I mean, the challenge we have is we work with so many organizations and so many issues that we're not always the experts on it, but we usually know who's doing good work on the areas.
Well, it's good to know that, because you have to know where to start asking questions.
Right. And then we also have a resource library there. That's also very helpful to people who want to learn more about certain issues, or about how to start a nonprofit, or about what other grant money might be available. So a lot of times people come in and just take advantage of our resource library.
So you have to start by asking. You have to start by asking questions first,
right?
And then and see what the answers are. And I know that a lot of times you've been able to just tell people, your opinions and your issues matter to us, and we'll do what we can for you.
Right.
And sometimes that's enough, maybe.
I think a lot of times people just want to be heard.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the challenges. I think that plagues American society right now. That a lot of people feel unheard.
Yeah.
And there's. The pace of change right now is so great that people are feeling left behind.
Yeah.
And what do you mean my job doesn't exist anymore and I need to learn something new? And I think that that a lot of the anger that we see is people feeling like they don't have a voice.
Patrick, thank you so much for sharing us the story of Humboldt Area Foundation. Hope to talk to you some more sometime.
Absolutely, Dave.
And that's about all we have time. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Community Voices.
Question.